July 1518. The streets of Strasbourg, a city in the Holy Roman Empire, are filled with the sounds of drums, flutes, and the relentless stomping of feet. But this is no festival. It is an outbreak, one of the strangest in recorded history. A dancing fever has gripped the city, and those afflicted cannot stop. Some collapse, some die, and no one knows why. Welcome to Old Around the World, where we journey into the past to bring historical events to life. In the sweltering summer of 1518, the city of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, was gripped by a bizarre and inexplicable phenomenon that would come to be known as the Dancing Plague. It all began with a single woman, Frau Trophia, who stepped into the street and began to dance fervently, seemingly without any control over her actions. Her movements were frantic and unrelenting, and despite her obvious exhaustion, Frau Trophia continued to dance for hours on end. As word of Trophia's strange behavior spread throughout the city, curious onlookers gathered to witness the spectacle. To the astonishment of all, what seemed like a solitary incident quickly spiraled into a mass event. Within a week, dozens of people had joined in the involuntary dance, and the numbers continued to swell. Men, women, and children alike seemed unable to resist the compulsion to dance, their bodies moving with a life of their own. City officials and clergy were at a loss. Various theories emerged to explain the phenomenon, ranging from divine punishment to the influence of evil spirits. Some believed it was a form of mass hysteria, while others suspected that the dancers were under the spell of a curse. Despite the lack of a clear explanation, the people of Strasbourg were united in their desire to find a solution to the crisis. Efforts to halt the dancing were as varied as the theories explaining it. Musicians were hired to provide music in the hope that structured tunes might bring the dancers to a more controlled state. Physicians prescribed remedies, and religious processions were organized to invoke divine intervention. However, none of these attempts seemed to quell the dancing, which continued to claim new participants with each passing day. The Dancing Plague of 1518 did not occur in isolation but rather against a backdrop of social, economic, and environmental turmoil. Europe in the early 16th century was a land of uncertainty, with frequent famines, disease outbreaks, and religious upheaval. The region around Strasbourg was no exception, suffering from a series of poor harvests that left many of its residents on the brink of starvation. The psychological stress of living in such precarious conditions likely played a role in the outbreak. With limited scientific understanding of psychological disorders, people of the time were prone to interpreting unusual behaviors as acts of the supernatural. The fear and anxiety endemic to the period may have created fertile ground for a mass psychogenic illness, manifesting in the form of uncontrollable dancing. Religious tension also contributed to the atmosphere of anxiety. The Protestant Reformation was gaining momentum, challenging the authority of the Catholic Church and sowing seeds of division across Europe. Strasbourg, a city with a diverse population and clashing beliefs, was a microcosm of this larger religious conflict. The uncertainty of faith and the threat of eternal damnation weighed heavily on people's minds. The concept of dance mania was not new, as similar incidents had been recorded across Europe in previous centuries. Known as choreomania, these outbreaks were characterized by similar symptoms of uncontrollable dancing and were often attributed to supernatural causes or divine retribution. The Dancing Plague of 1518 was the most notable and extensive of these events, but it was not an isolated phenomenon in the annals of history. The sheer scale of the Dancing Plague meant that hundreds of people were affected, each with their own traumatic experience. Many of the dancers were ordinary citizens, people whose lives were upended by their sudden and involuntary participation in the bizarre event. Accounts from the time describe scenes of chaos, with dancers collapsing from exhaustion, their feet bruised and bloodied from days of relentless movement. The physical toll on the dancers was severe. Unable to stop, many suffered from heart attacks, strokes, or severe exhaustion. Contemporary reports suggest that several participants died as a result of the ordeal, though the exact number remains unknown. The mental anguish was equally profound, as many were bewildered by their lack of control and feared for their lives and souls. Families of the afflicted were thrust into turmoil, watching helplessly as their loved ones succumbed to the mysterious compulsion. Efforts to restrain the dancers were largely ineffective, and the fear of contagion isolated these families from their communities. The social stigma attached to the event only added to their suffering, as neighbors and friends often viewed the afflicted with suspicion or disdain. Women were disproportionately represented among the dancers, a fact that has intrigued historians and scholars seeking to understand the gender dynamics at play. Some theories suggest that the social constraints imposed on women at the time may have intensified their vulnerability to the psychological pressures that fueled the outbreak. The dancing offered a temporary escape from these societal norms, albeit at a devastating cost. Over the centuries, various theories have been proposed to explain the dancing plague, each offering its own perspective on the enigmatic event. One of the earliest theories posited that the dancers were victims of ergotism, a condition caused by consuming rye contaminated with ergot, a hallucinogenic mold. Ergotism can induce convulsions and hallucinations, and some historians have suggested that this poisoning may have sparked the dancing frenzy. Another prevailing theory is that the event was a case of mass hysteria, now referred to as mass psychogenic illness. This phenomenon occurs when a group of people is subjected to extreme stress and anxiety, leading to the manifestation of psychological symptoms in a collective form. In the context of medieval Europe, the social and environmental pressures faced by the residents of Strasbourg could have precipitated such a response. Some scholars have explored the possibility of the event being a form of religious or ecstatic ritual. During the Middle Ages, dancing was sometimes used as a form of penitence or religious expression. While there is limited evidence to support this interpretation, it remains consideration in understanding the cultural and spiritual influences of the time. Despite the numerous theories, the dancing plague remains one of history's most puzzling mysteries. The lack of contemporary medical or scientific understanding means that definitive conclusions are elusive. However, the event continues to captivate historians and researchers, inviting speculation and debate about the nature of human psychology and collective behavior. The dancing plague of 1518 has left an indelible mark on culture and the arts, inspiring numerous interpretations and retellings through the centuries. Artists and writers have been fascinated by the event, using it as a metaphor for various aspects of human experience, from the struggle for freedom to the impact of societal pressures. The image of uncontrollable dancing has become a powerful symbol of chaos in the human condition. In literature, the dancing plague has been explored in various works, often with an emphasis on its surreal and nightmarish qualities. Authors have used the event as a backdrop for exploring themes of madness, obsession, and the breakdown of social order. It serves as a poignant reminder of the thin line between order and chaos, and how quickly the familiar can become alien. Visual artists have also been drawn to the event, depicting the frenetic energy and haunting despair of the dancers. These artworks capture the eerie beauty of the phenomenon, using vivid colors and dynamic compositions to convey the intensity of the experience. The juxtaposition of life and death, freedom and captivity, is a recurring motif in these pieces. Music, too, has been influenced by the dancing plague, with composers and musicians drawing inspiration from the event's rhythmic yet discordant nature. The concept of dance as both a joyful and a destructive force provides a rich tapestry for musical exploration. Through these artistic expressions, the legacy of the dancing plague continues to resonate, reminding us of the enduring mystery and complexity of human behavior. The dancing plague of 1518 offers valuable lessons about the interplay between psychological stress and societal conditions. It serves as a historical case study of how environmental factors and collective psychology can manifest in extraordinary ways. Understanding these dynamics is crucial in our present-day context, as we continue to face global challenges that test the resilience of communities worldwide. Today, we recognize the importance of mental health and the need to address the root causes of stress and anxiety in society. By studying events like the dancing plague, we can better appreciate the impact of psychological and social pressures on human behavior. This knowledge can guide us in creating supportive environments that promote mental well-being and prevent the escalation of stress-related phenomena. As a society, it is imperative that we foster open dialogue about mental health and provide resources for those in need. Just as the people of Strasbourg sought solutions in the face of the unknown, we too must be vigilant and proactive in addressing contemporary challenges. Education and awareness are key tools in this endeavor, empowering individuals to seek help and support when necessary. Let the story of the dancing plague serve as a reminder of our shared humanity and the importance of compassion and understanding. By learning from the past, we can build a future where mental health is prioritized and communities are resilient in the face of adversity. Join the movement for mental health awareness and take action today to support those affected by psychological distress. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into history's forgotten mysteries. Have a historical event you'd like us to cover? Let us know in the comments below. Bye, history lover.